very much. Thank you very much. Good to be here. Yes, I come from Europe. This is the normal size there, all right? Now, somebody's laughing a bit too hard. I don't know how to feel about that. Everything is compact in Europe. Well, not everything, if you see what I mean. I have a very big personality. It's great to be here in Boston. I'm Italian, but I live in the UK. I represent British conservative comics tonight. How about that? Thank you. Unfortunately, the other two guys couldn't make it. In their defense, they are in prison. Yeah. Let me tell you, I've got 75,000 subscribers on YouTube, but none of them in Houston, Texas. That was a rough gig. Yeah, I'm not jet lagged really. I look at my palms because I've been sleepless following the US election, presidential election. Yeah, they're still counting in Nevada, didn't you know? Yeah, what a race that was. It was meant to be close. But eventually, the man was vindicated, wasn't he? How about that? What a story. Yeah, some people, some of you guys lived through Richard Nixon resigning. Some of you watched the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal. And our generation got this, the vindication of a man. Remember when everybody said he was finished? Remember how they mocked him all over the media? Remember how his closest friends and allies sometimes betrayed him? But eventually, our man, Joe Biden, was vindicated. He was vindicated. He will go down in history as the only Democrat to have beaten Trump. Nobody can take that away from him. I'm kidding. He never beat Trump. Hey, I'm an Italian who does comedy in Britain. How good am I? They say they have the best sense of humor. Every Briton thinks he has wit, like every American thinks he has hope. Right? I mean, a foreigner doing comedy in Britain is like a foreigner teaching misogyny in Britain. Because they have a lot of Pakistanis. Okay, that's a joke for my Indian fans on YouTube. They'll get that. An Italian doing comedy in Britain. And we don't even have stand-up in Italy because the weather is nice outside. True story. It's good to be here in Boston, the Irish city, a lot of Irish people. If you have never been to Ireland, Irish people who have never been to Ireland, who don't sound Irish, sound like JFK for some reason. Hey, how about this? Do you have 2 drinks minimum in this city as well? That's something people in Europe don't. I mean, the real Irish, or the English for that matter, if you tell them when they go to a comedy night in Ireland or England, this establishment has a minimum 2 drink policy, sir. And what's the reason for that? Because the establishment wants to make sure that you buy at least 2 drinks. Are you having a laugh, mate? The first one was Irish, the second one was English, in case you didn't get my accent. 2 drinks. They have intervals, they have intermissions, more than one in comedy nights. You know, after every act, or at worst, every second act, there is an interval so they can refill their glasses. And they still can't wait for the interval. So they stand up and leave while you are still speaking as the comic. And sometimes my American fans watch these videos on YouTube and, oh, that's Snowflake, he walked out on you. I say, that's my biggest fan. He didn't walk out on me, he just wanted a head start on the queue for booze. Right? But I mean, if you want to walk out on me, it's fine with me. I'm not so self-centered to be offended or anything. The other day I was talking to God, and for the purpose of this joke, and God said, I'm going to grant one wish I'm going to realize it. And I said, I want peace between the Israelis and Palestinians. Two independent nations with mutual recognition in peace and prosperity, with borders within the 1967 internationally recognized borders. Can I have that? And God said, no, I can't do that. Do you know what omnipotent means? Do you know what visceral hate means? God said it can't be done because it's too complicated, because the Palestinians want to bring in all those who left from 1948 onwards, and Israel says the future state of Palestine cannot have a military, and then there's the water distribution, and there's all these settlements in the West Bank and all that, and of course generations of visceral hate. I can't do that, said God. Ask me something else. So I said, okay, I want to get on a London train and see a black person read a book. Can I see that before I die? And God said, okay. God said, okay. But let's talk some specifics. When you say two independent states, what about the state of Jerusalem? You want Jerusalem to be only the Israeli capital because the Palestinians want Eastern Jerusalem? Yeah. We have so many black people in America. Of course, we have black people in Britain as well, but most of them don't live in my neighborhood. Most British black people live in this area called TV commercials. Every TV commercial couple is interracial. What are they trying to tell us? What is the message? Do you know the message? I'm going to tell you what the message is. Black guys with good jobs and nice houses prefer white women. That seems to be the message. I mean, it's not a nice message, but don't shoot the messenger. Right. When I think of Boston, I always remember this movie called Road Trip. Yeah? The story of these college kids who want to help their mate, their buddy, win back his girlfriend, so they go on this road trip, but they mess up the destination because one of them overhears the destination and mixes up Boston and Austin. Right? So that's the premise of the movie. But I watched this movie in Italy. In the Italian language, we call it Boston and Austin. So you watch this entire movie based on this premise, and I think, who mixes up Boston and Austin? Are these Americans retarded? And shortly after that, you guys elected this retarded president. He divided the nation. He messed up on the international scene. Thankfully, Donald Trump took over from him eventually. Are you having fun? Yeah. I'm not having fun because there's no thrill of getting arrested, you know, for doing this. I can say whatever and... Yeah. Hey, have you heard of this place called Ohio? The Supreme Court of Ohio ruled that boneless chicken can contain bones. Do you know that? This gentleman goes to enjoy a dish of boneless chicken with his family in this joint, and there was a bone, gets lodged in his throat, months of infection and complication. But the Supreme Court of Ohio said boneless chicken refers to the style of cooking. So even if it's called, that's what they said. Look it up. Even if we have internet in England, we can look this up. Even if it's called boneless chicken, it can contain bones. And in a separate deliberation, the Supreme Court of Ohio said strong, independent women can call themselves strong, independent women even when they rely on strong, independent men to pay for their state benefits, alimony, and child support. That's a bunch of controversial rulings, Supreme Court of Ohio. Strong, independent women say the funniest things, like, I don't need a man to raise a child. I'm a pilot with Delta Airlines. A real man will not care about my mixed race children. How can I compete with female comedy? We all try. What else have I got for you? Yeah, you guys have these commercials for every second TV ad is a pharmaceutical. You're an ailing nation. So you watch TV and this guy comes on, you are stronger than your eczema. Take this pharmaceutical to beat your eczema. Side effects, rectal bleeding, what? Erectile dysfunction, blood pressure, suicidal thoughts, homicidal rage. I mean, how bad does it get before? Right? Any illegals in the crowd? Don't out yourselves. Democrats are mad with these deportations. They want to give everyone a path to citizenship, right? Amnesty, path to... This is the only crime. When you commit the crime and hang in long enough, they'll give it to you. It doesn't happen with any other felony, right? It's not like you wake up in the middle of the night, go downstairs, there's a man, there's an intruder in your kitchen, and say, hey, that's way out of line. You're in my kitchen, uninvited. But how long have you been here? 3 hours? Okay, let me show you the path to my wife's bedroom. Yes, I'm low on testosterone, not because I had that eczema medicine. I'm a registered Democrat, so I'm naturally low on testosterone. Path to citizenship. Did you have a good time? Yeah. I flew 7 hours in coach. You better have had a good time. So I'll end on this. They say this is the most difficult job in the world, making a bunch of strangers laugh. That's far from the truth, actually. The most difficult job in the world is being a Mexican nationalist. Bear with me, because what is a Mexican nationalist all about? They're like, hey, these Americans, they took away Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, made them richer and more prosperous. It stops right now. We want to reclaim all these and make them part of Greater Mexico. Do you know who would be the angriest with that agenda? The other Mexicans. They'd be like, hombre, we are trying to get into the US. You want to push the border further north? Have we not walked enough? Hey, you liked it more than they did in Houston. But you liked it less than they did in Tucson, Arizona, because they were all Mexicans. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have been a great crowd. I have been very accurate. Follow me on... Right-wing comedy is fact-based. And I think we are kind of having a connection going on here. As a comic, you always need to research your crowd. So, with utmost sincerity, I tell you, park the car in the Harvard yard. I know Bostonians are annoyed because they say this sentence doesn't make sense, no real use for it, but if Trump's feud with Harvard ends the way we want it to end, you will finally, literally be able to park the car in the Harvard yard. Let's make America great again, and let's turn Harvard into a car park. Thanks very much. I've been Nicholas De Santo. Follow me on YouTube. And now we are going to welcome our next act. This guy is a local favorite, and I know ladies are going to be all over him. Ancient Romans said, "Nomen est omen." Your name is your destiny. And this guy, his name is Mr. Big D. So please put your hands together for the wonderful one and only Big D.